Greetings, all. Greetings. Sometimes people complain about things that they see. Not being able to look past what they're seeing at present. In a way, that can be dangerous. And if you look at the current world situation and compare it to what I just said, it is. Everybody is looking at the tariffs. And saying, oh my God, the world is crashing. But it's by design that it appears that the world is crashing. Trump just had a meeting in the Oval Office in which he says, my God, look at all the billionaires that are being created. When I canceled the tariffs and the market rebounded, all the money he lost trying to fight core battles on the Biden, Trump just made back. Not only did he make money, but the people who were saying, oh my God, look at all the money we are losing in the market today. They knew it was going to happen and they made money. Now the people who were complaining about the tariffs and the world is falling apart, they're still complaining about it. It's stuck in their head. It's paralyzing them. Everybody is looking at what China is going to do next. When I say everybody, I mean all the people who think they have this great financial knowledge and who depends on this news cycle to make money. But China is a country that no matter what's going on around them, they make the same moves. They just raise their tariffs on America to 125%. Chinese goods are still going to come into America. But the American people, not the wealthy people that make money on the market, are going to be paying the price. Tariffs are not paid by the companies. It's paid by the people. I saw an article the other day that said Apple imported 60 tons of cell phones from India. to avoid the tariffs. And they were trying to calculate how much the iPhone was going to cost if the tariffs went into effect. Now, mind you, these iPhones were made about $200, $300. Apple imported these iPhones. Now, and if the tariff went into effect, they didn't have to pay the tariffs. They don't have to pay the tariffs. But that cell phone goes from $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 to $2,500. How much money is Apple making? Does Apple care about the American people? They do care about the American people. That's why they imported 60 tons of cell phones. And if a cell phone cost is half a pound, figure how many phones they imported. The only care they have is you buy a phone. And if the tariffs go into effect, that same phone that cost $300 and they sell it for $1,100 now, they raise the price to $2,500. Apple people are going to buy it. That's the lunacy of Americans. Lack of knowledge. And wisdom that don't exist. And when I look at that, and I compare it to the rest of the world, especially to where my roots are. These are like Barbados and Africa. They still want iPhones too. And they're gonna pay that $2,500. Plus the tariffs that it's gonna cost to bring it into Barbados or Africa. Barbados is like 30-something%. Corporate America survives based on the ignorance and the lunacy of the American people. When I say lunacy, for a man to buy a phone, I'm buying an Apple phone. I'm Apple through and through. I only drink Coke. I only drink Pepsi. People don't think. Every 4 years they elect a president, no matter where you are in the world. In some years, some 6 years. Give or take 2. And every one of those presidents does the same things. No matter where you are. Barbados, they do the same thing too. Africa, they do the same thing. Knowledge is critical. every step of the way, especially in survival. There are a lot of people who left America and went to Africa, and many are still going. Woefully inadequate knowledge about the place that they're going. And I'm watching things fall apart for a lot of people. Many who go to Africa saying that they're going to start a business are tying their business to helping diasporans, as they say, reconnect to the motherland or the fatherland or roots or whatever they call it. One of the things that made me start a channel is my voyages across some of Africa. Like in Nigeria, the things that people that I met, Ghana, the people that I met, Gambia, the people I met, and all of them had one thing in common. They all went to these places, then they talked about the places that they went to. In glowing terms, there is nothing wrong with the place. I mean, I'm going to give you an example of something. I watched two Gambians make a video and heard one of them say, "Hey, we can't put that in the video. Don't take pictures of that. We don't want people to see that garbage. It will affect the tourists." And so I talk about that. To say this. If you can hide the issues that will affect you, if those issues are being hidden from you, guess what's going to happen when you arrive and you begin to, not when you arrive for a holiday and you spend a week or two in Nairobi, you don't have to do anything except walk around and look at the sites that they tell you should go see. Ghana, you go look at the slave castle and you cry, and you forgot that Ghanaians helped build that castle and helped bring you to that castle from wherever you were across Africa. Because the Caucasians couldn't go out in the jungle. A lot of them died when they just set foot in Ghana on the beach. So it's the Ghanaians, the Nigerians, the Cameroonians, the Senegalese, the Gambians, all of them brought you to their favorite slave castle. Put you on the ship, send you across the ocean. They even caught the tribes around them, you know. And that's what diaspora is doing in Africa. They're selling you this dream about how great it is. And as I discovered through meeting one. I went to Gambia to buy some land, and ran into this one from diaspora that came from London, bought land in Gambia. I was trying to sell it. I know the price of land. I've been going to Gambia for years. 50 by 50 for $1 million. The land they bought, 20 or 30 acres for $1 million. So now if I didn't go to Gambia, I wouldn't know that. If I didn't go to Gambia, know that I can buy more than that for that much money.
Good evening.
Good evening. Second point now, when I sat down, I said, okay, so where are the roads that lead to your land? Well, the roads are not in place yet. When are you going to put the roads in? We're not going to put the roads in. You're gonna sell the land, and the government the government does not put roads in places like that. So it means that you can't get to your land. There are now thousands of real estate agents in Gambia selling land. Then you try to go buy a piece of land. You call the real estate agent, and he calls somebody else, and that person calls somebody else, that person calls somebody else. You go to look at this piece of land, and there are 5-10 people show up to go show you this piece of land. Only one person knows where that piece of land is. All the others call somebody to meet this one person, and all of them are expecting a cut. So guess how many times the price of that land went up? That 5 or 10 times, and you don't know it. When I start asking questions like that, is like da. She didn't know that I've been to Gambia and I know the scam. So my mind said to me, you know what? You better go back to making videos. And that's what started me making videos. And now I'm beginning to see that it was worth it. Because there are a few people telling the story truthfully now. And the number is growing. Which is good. The next focus they gotta focus on is now, how many Africans are they? Because that will also affect you. How many Africans are they? Because there's an Africa for Africans. And in that Africa, there are several Africas. The African knows what he can do in Africa. He knows the different stages of what and how it works and when to use it. The diaspora come in there and they find one African who's got to show them all these paradigms. Hi, how you doing? She doing okay. Sleep. Yeah. But you now have to hire African to help you through the process. And that African is going to bring in his friend. So that's the third Africa that you're learning about. You're learning about the veneer that you see. And then as you walk each step, there's an added phase to what you're seeing. Africans know all of that. Then there's an Africa for the European. And his Africa works through his embassy and the UN. When he goes to a bank in Africa, he calls his embassy calls somebody at the bank, he walks right in. You don't get that. You got to get an African who knows somebody in the bank, and you got to pay that African, the guy who works in the bank, you got to pay also. These people who work on the behalf of you in Africa don't tell you that story because they want you to think that they are it. Their knowledge level is way beyond what you know, is way up there. And they have something to teach you. The problem is now that what you see happening in America is going to affect them seriously. And they don't even know it yet. And I'm not going to warn them. But I'm going to warn you. Beware of these people. You will hear them talking about other people. And creating a war among diasporans in Africa. And well, here I say I'm not going to warn them, but here it is. To survive in Africa, diasporans is going to need each other. Because as the Africans who don't have a knowledge of what happens in the West, as they try to negotiate this path, they're going to find it difficult. Because before, the money used to be flowing. And when the money starts flowing, life's going to get hard in Africa. You are going to be the only one with money. And I'm repeating this in almost every video that I made lately. Those people that the African used to know, the African is going to look at them side-eye. So you're going to have to be honest, and you're going to have to know the Africans that you're dealing with. If we as diasporans do not form a community in Africa, we're not going to survive. It's up to you to do it. Nobody's going to force you to do it. And survival is not just about, oh, I brought $1 million to Africa. I don't have to. Anything I want, I can buy. In time, I hope your attitude change. Because your American dollar is not going to disappear. But there was a time when the British pound, you had to give $5 in exchange for £1. Look at British today. If Britain wasn't running the biggest money laundering machine on the planet, the British pound wouldn't be worth 50 cents. Don't take what I say as face value. Check out what I say. I tell you, the British is running the biggest money laundering scheme on the planet through the city of London. They've been doing it for years. And as times get hard, they've been shutting down the money laundering all around the world. Oh, if you don't believe me, read the story about the Panama Papers. They've been shutting them down so that they stay in business. African leaders are going to run into the same problem. And I've been always saying African youth better start standing up. Otherwise, they're going to have a big problem. And when Africa reaches that stage, you better have a community built so that you can feed each other and the Africans around you. Many of you don't know the story of what happened to Sierra Leone and Liberia. Americans went back after slavery, and then they took over the running of the country, and guess what? They had a community, had a whole tribe, but they didn't build connections with the Africans, the other Africans. And you should read the story of what happened to them. Don't let it happen to you. Peace.